Hello all, once again welcome to my channel Mukund Sriram, Assistant Professor, Marian International Institute of Management. So in this video we'll be discussing the basics of financial planning. It includes savings and investments, inflation risk, using mutual fund to meet investors' goals, and government savings product, risk profiling, asset allocation, and model portfolio. When it comes to the difference between savings and investment, saving talks about short term goals and investment talks about long term goals. Savings is done to keep a part of your income for emergency funds or to maintain liquidity among your portfolio for a situation, to tackle a situation like COVID-19, because you have to have some part of your portfolio as savings so that you will be able to purchase your daily requirements. And when it comes to investments, again long term horizon, you will be keeping aside an income to meet your long term obligations, such as building wealth post retirement, then savings or investing for your child's education, purchasing a house, etc. So savings talks about savings bank and investment talks about other risky funds, which will in turn during the time increases your wealth. And what do you mean by savings? It is basically checking accounts. You will be opening a savings account and keeping your money over there. It will fetch only fixed return, and that too very minimalistic. And generally a savings bank account provides interest anywhere between 3 to 3.75%, and it is perfect for emergency kind of fund, near term purchase, and preservation of capital. Near term purchase, I'll give you an example. Suppose you are earning a salary of 25,000 per month. You are planning to purchase a mobile phone costing 50,000 rupees. Okay. And your salary is 25,000 and you are going to purchase 50,000 mobile phone. So you will be planning to save some money like 20,000 per month for 3 months. So you will be having 60,000 rupees after 3 months. So this kind of an amount you are setting aside to purchase something is known as savings. Okay. And after 3 months you will be able to purchase the phone. And savings also talks about preservation of capital, whereby there is no risk. You are just idling your money. But when it comes to investments, you are investing where? Stocks, gold, real estate, mutual funds, which provides capital appreciation and which will help in long-term retirement income and capital appreciation. Okay. So savings talks about short-term purchases and investment talks about long-term wealth creation. And what is the objective of investment? When you try to figure out the objective of investment, the basic is to beat the inflation risk. What do you mean by inflation? Inflation means the general price rise in commodities. Okay. And for example, you are a risk averse investor and you are only trying to park your money in fixed deposit in a bank. So what is the risk over here is the past trend of interest rates of a fixed deposit is declining. If you take the FD rate during 2008, it is around 8 to 9%, but right now it is 6.5 to 6.75%. And when this FD rates decreases, your income will also decrease. Now take the case of inflation. Inflation during the year 2003 and 4 was 2 to 3%, but right now it is growing at a pace of 5 to 6%. So your FD rates are decreasing and inflation rates are rising. That means your purchasing power is again going down 2 times, because both are moving in the opposite direction, right? So to beat the inflation risk, you have to create a portfolio including long-term investments, and that talks about wealth creation. Okay. And to beat the inflation risk, you are trying to invest in risky products for the long term. Now we'll see the implication of inflation risk. What happens if inflation comes? Your purchasing power has been reduced. It leads to not meeting your financial goals. In the sense, if you are only investing in such bank deposits, you will not be able to meet your financial goals very fast. May leads to reduction in exports and leads to reduced demand. Why reduced demand? When purchasing power of the people reduces, what happens? The demand for a product decreases, which in turn reduces the sales of the company, which leads to what? Which leads to the economic crisis in a country. And what are the causes of inflation risk? So the causes of inflation risk, if you are an investor, if you ask me, I will say investing in fixed income sources, economic backlashes, and pandemics. So causes of inflation is due to, when it comes to the investor's point of view, people will be investing in fixed income sources, most of us. And that is the main reason that we'll be under pressure of inflation. And obviously, economic backlash and pandemics cannot be, it is not on the hands of an investor, right? Economic backlash means economic recession and all other depression scenario. And pandemics talks about a situation like COVID, which no one has control over that. And what are the methods to overcome that inflation? So take risk when you are young. Okay. I've said throughout my video that when you are around 23 to 24 years old, you are having a job, please set aside 30 to 40% of your income as savings. Don't spend it right away. I have seen many of my friends who are earning 45,000 per month. On first of every month, they'll be getting their salary, and 20th of that same month, they will be finishing that and asking money from friends, rolling basis. So they don't have any assets as such. Again, creating liabilities every 20th of a month, and that is a serious thing you have to take. So when you are young, you can try to save maximum amount and plan for your retirement early, and you will be able to meet your goals soon. Invest in equity. Again, everyone, including our parents, they would evade equity because they are saying it is very risky. Yes, that is very risky if you consider a short term of 5 to 6 years. You will be getting the benefits of equity only after a long term, and that will be around 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years. The more time you invest, the more time horizon, you will be earning much more because of compounded annual growth rate, CAGR. And tune your portfolio properly. So I am saying that investing in equity is best, but don't put your eggs in a single basket. You need to include many investment avenues in your portfolio. And mutual fund to meet investors' goals. So many of us tend to park our money in fixed deposits in banks. So how mutual fund can provide, or mutual fund can help to earn or achieve one's goals? So there are various funds we have talked about. Mutual fund debt schemes, then monthly income plan, equity funds, and ELSS. Debt schemes are the scheme for those who are having less, those whose risk appetite is very less. So 65% of the portfolio of debt funds are being invested in debt securities, government bonds, treasury bills, and all those things. And it will provide more than savings bank deposits, the returns. Okay. And MIS means monthly income plan, and that is its objective is to provide regular monthly income for retired people. And when it comes to equity and ELSS, both are equity funds. Equity funds are investing in large cap, mid cap, or small cap funds, and the horizon, the time frame to get more returns is long term. And ELSS means it provides tax benefits under section 80C, equity linked savings scheme. A maximum of 1,50,000 can be deducted from your income for tax purpose. So these are the various funds available. Now we'll see two of the government savings product which are also available and which are also tax free. One is National Pension Scheme and other one is Public Provident Fund. National Pension Scheme, we have two types of accounts, Tier 1 and Tier 2. Tier 1 talks about the account with limited withdrawal facility, and second one, withdrawable to meet financial contingencies. Some conditions will be there, so based on that, for example, if you are having a disease, you will be able to withdraw the money. Okay, and the money we are investing in NPS can be invested in 4 of the asset classes. Class A talks about investment in alternative investment products. C talks about investment in debt securities other than government securities, which talks about corporate bonds. Class E is investing more in equity market instruments, which talks about more risk. And class G, investing in government securities. And the minimum contribution is 500 to 1000 rupees, and there is no upper limit or upper ceiling in contribution to NPS. And you will be getting tax relief under section 80C and 80CCD. A maximum of 1,50,000 for tier 2 accounts and 2 lakh for tier 1 accounts. And that is NPS. So if we compare NPS with PPF, in PPF we will be able to put only 1,50,000 per year, and that is tax free under section 80C. And currently the interest for PPF is 7.9%, and we will be able to withdraw the money only after 15 years, except financial contingencies like diseases or other things mentioned in the scheme. So I would suggest everyone, all of you, if you are having some money, you are investing in equity fund, you should also have NPS or PPF also in your portfolio. And please take a note that PPF 15 years is the lock-in period, but that is also proven to be good capital appreciation tool, PPF, where you will be not having much risk compared to other products. Now we'll see the process of risk profiling. It is an approach to understand the risk appetite of investors. Okay. So as an investment advisor, you should know the risk appetite of investors. What is the limit, or what is the extent of an investor to withstand the risk. So two kinds, the risk appetite of the investor and risk level of the investment options are being considered. The level of risk that an investor is ready to take and the risk of the investment option. So these are the factors influencing risk profiling. First one is family information, personal information, and financial information. When it comes to family information, earning members, risk appetite increases if earning members are more, and when dependent members are more, risk appetite goes down because they cannot take more risk. And life expectancy, risk appetite increases when life expectancy is long. And personal information, age, low age, more risk can be taken. That is the same thing I have described in the previous slides also. Because if you are 25 years old or 26 years old, you can invest more in equity because you have that ability to take more risk. And employability, well qualified people can afford to take more risk. And nature of job, steady jobs or steady income people can take more risk. And those who are daring and adventurous are also able to take more risk. And when it comes to financial information, capital base, if you are having high capital base, you will be tending to take more risk because you are safe. You think that you are safe. And regularity of income, if you are having regular source of income, the risk appetite will be high. So these are the factors affecting risk profiling. Now we'll see asset allocation. The distribution of an investor's portfolio between different asset classes is known as asset allocation. And you have heard this, you might have heard this sentence called, don't put all your eggs in one single basket, because if one single basket falls down, all your eggs will break. So if you put the funds only in equity during the pandemic period like COVID-19, where stock market is crashing, you will lose all your wealth. So you should have a diversified portfolio. So we'll be having two kinds of asset allocation. One is strategic asset allocation and other one tactical asset allocation. So when it comes to strategic asset allocation, it is basically long-term allocation. Uses inherent character of each asset class, and asset class is based on fixed rules. See, for example of a strategic asset allocation, I will say a person who is having 25 years age will be investing more in equity segment, okay, because he is able to take more risk. And a person who has retired or who is around 65 to 70 years old will invest more in debt funds. But take the same person for tactical asset allocation. So if that person, 65-year-old person, is seeing an opportunity, underlying opportunity, that if I invest in this share, which is an equity share, I'll be earning more returns. Okay, then he is allocating some money like 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs to purchase that share. That asset allocation type is known as tactical asset allocation. It is the deviation from long term. It involves moving in and out of the asset class. That 65-year-old fellow has been investing in debt funds, but now when he sees an opportunity that if he is going to purchase a share and able to sell that in a profit, he will be moving towards that share and selling it off. That is known as tactical asset allocation. So based on risk profile and financial goal, we are doing strategic asset allocation. Risk profile and financial goals will be, the rules will be fixed, but external factors, when we consider, that is known as tactical asset allocation. Okay, so two types of asset allocation. Now these are the various model portfolios. This is based on the age. First one you can see young employee, then young married employee, then single income family with grown up children who have to settle down, and couple in their 70s, retirement. So when it comes to single employees, see 50% in diversified equity schemes through SIP, 20% in sector funds, 10% gold ETF, and 10% in diversified debt fund. And when it comes to young married income fellows, 35% diversified equity schemes, because they are having two people, right? One fellow and his wife or her husband. So if you compare that 50% diversified equity scheme from single first one, it has been reduced from 50% to 35%, whereby risk is reduced. And 10% in sector funds, and 15% in gold ETF, and 30% in debt fund. See, the debt fund is rising. And now the third one, single income family with grown up children who are yet to settle down. 35% in equity scheme, 10% in sector funds, 15% in gold ETF, 30% diversified, and 10% liquid schemes. Again, the same thing, because the risk, the ability to take risk has been gradually going down. And last one, couple in their 70s with no immediate family support. So it is a kind of emptiness situation where their children has got married and they are not there with the parents. 15% in diversified equity index, that means 15% equity. It has been considerably reduced. When you are single, you can invest 50% or more in equities, and when you are retired and you are nearing to your nearing to your death, you are going to reduce your equity exposure, and you will be investing more in other MIPs or regular monthly income plans and other liquid schemes. So this is a basic model portfolio that you can try. Okay, so we have discussed the basics of financial planning, the difference between savings and investment, and inflation risk. Inflation risk is the major source of motivation for people like us to invest for long term. And we have seen asset allocation, strategic and tactical, and also model portfolios. So financial planning comes to an end. Hope you have got something from this video. Thank you very much.